Teenage love feels one-sided, because you're the only one who doesn't know how to make it smaller. That's really what it is. You feel it at full size before you even know what it is, and the other person is still figuring out if they feel anything at all. I think about how it actually works when you're that age. You meet someone, or you've known them forever, and something just shifts, and all of a sudden they're the main character of your whole day. Not because they did anything crazy, just because they text back, just because they laughed at something you said. And at that age, you don't have anything to compare it to. So you think this is just how it feels when two people like each other. You don't know it's supposed to go both ways at the same speed. You just feel what you feel and you assume they're feeling it too. 'Cause why wouldn't they be? So you start doing things without noticing you're doing them. You check your phone before you're even fully awake. You reread the last text like it's gonna say something new the second time. You save the good conversations in your head and forget the ones where they took hours to reply. You tell yourself they're just busy. You tell yourself that's just how they text. You make excuses for them before they'd even done anything wrong, 'cause somewhere in you already know something's off. And you don't want to look at it yet. And it's never one big moment that tells you. It's small stuff. It's them being less funny over text. It's them taking longer to ask how your day was. It's you bringing up the same memory twice, 'cause you need to hear if it still means something to them. And every time, instead of stepping back, you lean in more. You think if you just show up a little harder, care a little louder, it'll balance out. It doesn't. It never does. 'Cause it was never a math problem. It was just two people feeling different amounts. What it does to your head after is worse than the actual moment. You start replaying everything, trying to find the exact point where it flipped. Was it something you said? Was it something you didn't say enough? You go back through old messages looking for proof that it was real. Like you need evidence for yourself more than for anyone else. And the scary part is, you start shrinking without meaning to. You talk less about how you feel, because you don't want to scare them off. You agree with things you don't actually agree with. You make yourself easier, quieter, smaller, thinking that's what'll make them stay, and it never occurs to you at the time that you're doing that. You just think you're being chill. You just think you're being easy to be around. And honestly, the scariest part isn't even losing them. It's realizing you don't know who you were before you started doing all that. You gave so much of your attention to reading their mood, and you stopped checking in on your own. You got good at knowing when they were annoyed, and bad at knowing when you were hurting. Nobody warns you about that part, that caring this much for the first time can quietly turn into losing track of yourself. It just feels like devotion at the time. It doesn't feel like a warning sign. It feels like proof you're capable of loving someone that hard. What stays with you after is this specific kind of confusion. You're not even mad at them most of the time. You're mad at yourself for not seeing it, or embarrassed that you cared that visibly while they stayed so even the whole time. You start wondering if something's wrong with how you feel things. Like maybe you just feel too much, too early, too loud. And that thought sits in you for a long time. It makes you cautious in a way you didn't used to be. It makes you watch yourself in the next thing before you even let it start. Checking if you're doing it again. Caring first, caring more, caring alone. And underneath all of it, there's this quiet fear you don't say out loud. That maybe you're just built to feel more than everyone else does. That maybe every time you like someone, you're gonna end up the one holding more of it than they are. You don't know yet that this isn't really about them at all. You just know it happened once, and it left a mark. And that mark makes you flinch a little every time something starts to feel real again. And if you look at how dating works now, especially at that age, it makes sense why this happens so easy. Everyone's got options. Everyone's one conversation away from someone new, so nobody feels like they have to try that hard. Because if it doesn't work out, there's always someone else replying within the hour. You grew up watching people get replaced overnight and still thought you'd be the exception. You still gave everything, like loyalty was gonna mean something. To someone who never had to choose just you. That's the part that stings later. It wasn't that you loved wrong, it's that you loved in a world that doesn't really ask people to commit to anything, and you didn't know that yet. And what that does to a person is quiet, but it adds up. When you give more than you get back, especially that young, it teaches you something about yourself that isn't even true. It teaches you that your worth depends on how much someone responds to you. That if they're not matching your energy, you must be doing something wrong. You start measuring yourself by reply times and effort levels instead of just knowing you're worth showing up for regardless. And that's the dangerous part. Because that lesson doesn't stay in that one relationship. It follows you. It shows up the next time you like someone. And you find yourself waiting to see how much you're allowed to feel before you let yourself feel it. At first, I thought it just meant I cared too much, that I was the one who got it wrong somehow, but it wasn't that I cared too much, it was that I cared before I knew how to tell the difference between someone who was present and someone who was just around. Those aren't the same thing, but at that age, they feel identical. Someone being there every day looks like commitment, even when it's really just convenience. Someone replying looks like interest, even when it's really just habit. You don't know yet how to read the difference, so you assume presence means the same thing to them that it means to you, and it doesn't have to. That's not a flaw in you. That's just something nobody explains until you've already lived through it once. So, if I'm honest, I don't think teenage love is one-sided, because something's wrong with the people feeling it that hard. I think it's one-sided, because that's usually the first time anyone feels anything without knowing how to hold it evenly. And once you go through it, you get more careful. Not closed off, just more careful. You start noticing the difference between someone matching you and someone just letting you carry it. You stop mistaking presence for depth. It takes a while to get there. And some days you still catch yourself doing the same thing, checking your phone a little too early, making excuses for someone before they've earned it. But at least now you notice it happening while it's happening, instead of only understanding it years later when it's already done. What I actually want, and I think what a lot of people want without saying it, isn't for someone to feel it exactly the same way at the exact same time. That's not realistic, and it never really was. What I want is for it to even out, eventually. For both people to be building the same thing, instead of one person carrying it and the other one just kind of walking alongside it. That's all it really is. Not equal from the first day, just equal by the end of it. That's not too much to ask for. Even if it felt like it was back then. I don't think that first version of caring too much was a mistake. I think it just came before you knew how any of it worked. You weren't wrong for feeling it that big. You just hadn't learned yet that feeling something fully doesn't mean the other person's gonna feel it back at the same size. That part comes later, and it comes slow, and it comes from doing it wrong a few times first. That's really it. Nothing dramatic, just something you carry quietly. Until one day, it doesn't feel heavy anymore. It just feels like something that happened to you once.